You know what I was thinking about recently? Next year will be 2020. Okay, so why is that important? The Olympics, of course. Okay, so why is that important? Mario and Sonic deserve an actual collab game for 2020 that's not just a Tokyo Olympic crossover. Let's dig into it, shall we? First of all, I want to start off by saying that this video is in no way meant to take anything away from the Mario and Sonic Olympic games, because I genuinely like and enjoy these titles. The fun mini games are definitely enjoyable. However, I feel as though if these two iconic series are to come together, they deserve something far more ambitious, and taking things outside of the box could prove to be successful in its own right. If that sounds crazy, look no further than Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle as an example of an unimaginable crossover and concept coming together and working well for the pocket that I was in. And let me emphasize, working well. This was an unlikely pairing in a genre that neither series had ever seen before. Fast forward, critical success, and praise all the way around. And you mean to tell me still Mario and Sonic couldn't pull off an insane full-fledged story crossover title? I think it's definitely worth a shot, especially considering a couple of factors. For one, I feel as though the pocket of party games for Mario is already occupied by the obvious Mario Party series, which if you ask me could already stand to include guests like Sonic from time to time anyways, and Sonic would blend right in. Added to the fact that these Olympic games just don't do as well as even the worst Mario parties, and at that point I think we could both agree that some sort of change wouldn't be that much of a risk, plus it would be just cooler to see. But this all sounds good on paper, but how would it work and what exactly would it look like? I mean, Sonic is all about his speed and traversal through levels, and Mario is about platforming that feels good and controls just as well. I think we can go about tackling this a few different ways, though the first of which would be the most simplistic, which would be create levels that complemented and demanded for both styles of play. For this, I'd imagine when players are in single player, by the way this game would be multiplayer, but in single player, we'd have to switch between Mario and Sonic or Luigi or whomever in order to navigate through a certain section of each level. Though, to be fair, so the game wouldn't be a nightmare in terms of cohesion, I suggest a lowering on Sonic's speed and making sure that the ease of control is still there, because that is an issue with a lot of Sonic games, and I would hate for the Mario segments to feel smooth and for the Sonic parts just to feel rough. Every once in a while though, it would be cool to see the worlds get swapped somehow, so that sometimes Mario and Sonic are in a kingdom and other times they're in a zone. Could you imagine Sonic being able to get all these mushroom power-ups? And seeing Mario having to deal with Eggman would be a funny interaction all in itself. Multiplayer could work in such a way as to have two players making their way through different areas, and when the time comes for Mario to do a wall jump up to a platform that otherwise wouldn't be able to be reached by Sonic, they could do that and press a switch that enables Sonic to proceed forward and have the two meet up again. Sections that are activated by switches with timers would obviously be Sonic's specialty. This would make it a benefit for you to have a friend with you on couch multiplayer or online. Otherwise, you'd be switching back and forth in single player, or to save yourself that headache, maybe you could run through with a computer, but what fun would that be? Boss fights would also be huge in scale, by requiring you to utilize skills from both worlds as well as new ones in order to bring them down. And by the way, this wouldn't be your typical hit the enemy 3 times like in the Mario games in order to bring down a boss, or just a simple health bar in some Sonic games. This would be a huge undertaking. I mean, you're Mario and Sonic, no excuses. These boss fights should be crazy. Take for example this. I'm envisioning bosses that have body parts that mirror the likeness of everyday platforms along the worlds. For example, say Mario and Sonic have to take down a giant metal Bowser created by Eggman that has a super long tail. A tail that just so happens to resemble the rails that Sonic loves to grind in his games. So Mario would have to hold on to Sonic as not to fall off as Sonic boosts up the monster's super long tail. And when the duo has successfully ascended to the top, Mario would have to deliver his signature ground pound on the boss's head. Or maybe a new mechanic specific to this game that only Mario can do. And that's just one example in a game that will be full of possibilities as far as bosses are concerned. And you have to imagine that the way we deal with these threats and bosses will be varied as well, depending on how the game progresses. Narratively, I think the story would go something like this. Eggman, in a new attempt to defeat Sonic in battle that he's already almost about to lose, would resort to using some kind of a weird chemical. Sure, it isn't safe, but this time he's had enough. He's tried Metal Sonics, Chaos Emeralds, and everything in between. because the plot demands of it, and because he's not the best scientist, something goes terribly wrong, of course, and creates a giant explosion that somehow fuses the Sonic universe with the Mushroom Kingdom universe. Upon regaining consciousness, Sonic and his friends find themselves in a mysterious version of the world that they aren't familiar with. While all this is happening, Bowser kidnaps Peach for the 468th time, and just as he looks like he's about to finally get away clean, he's stopped by Sonic and his friends, who upon hearing the cries for help attempt to rescue Peach because like Sonic would really mind his business in this scenario. The battle ensues, Eggman gets there, now it's 2-on-1 because everyone else in Sonic's crew is completely useless. Then Mario gets there, now it's even. Boom, bad guys win somehow. Eggman likes Bowser's kidnapping idea and takes Amy because why not? And now they're on a journey to save these two kidnapped characters. Hey, nobody called me a brilliant screenwriter, alright? Guys, I understand it's a little cheesy and cliche, but I needed some way for these characters to force an interaction to have them meet. Anyway, I just think it would be so cool. Eggman would teach Bowser about the Chaos Emeralds. Could you imagine Bowser getting his hands on the Chaos Emeralds and then becoming some sort of mega giant Giga Bowser? Oh, that would be so incredible. Bosses would vary between Bowser henchmen and Bowser Jr., as well as Eggman's artificial Bowser robots. Mario and Sonic could also have individual specials as well as team attacks, the list of which would greatly improve toward the completion of the game. Weapons and unlockables would sit behind a mixture of coins and rings, with coins unlocking the Mushroom Kingdom abilities and rings giving you the Sonic World specials. Levels would still be graded, and depending upon how well you did, the more specials, currency, and whatnot would be available to you. This would give the game the added replayability and value of just going back and completing certain levels that you just liked and you just thought were challenging. You want to go back and try them again. One of the things I loved about Mario Odyssey was the ability to customize Mario, and I think that'd be cool to see that make a return here. Though I don't think Sonic has ever had that in one of his games. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. But being able to represent both in a way that complements each other's world would be cool. Though, to be fair, I'm not exactly sure what Mario could grab from Sonic's realm, but new clothing options for both of them would be interesting to say the least. Going back to gameplay for a minute, I think it would be interesting to see levels that weren't operated by switches, ones that were more seamless. Say Sonic is running through a fast-paced environment and all of a sudden he throws Mario, and the next thing you know, Mario's jumping from wall to wall, hitting bounce pads, jumping and reaching platforms that Sonic couldn't reach. On the other hand, what if Sonic curls up in a homing attack ball like he normally does, Mario kicks him, Sonic goes through a narrow passageway, something that Mario just couldn't contort and bend into, revealing a hidden collectible that otherwise wouldn't have been accessible, and these would all be hidden secret things that you could just discover in the game. This kind of interaction between these two icons would give the game that much more charm, and the gameplay would be that much more endearing because of it. It would be the perfect marriage of these two worlds. Yes, not only do we have Sonic and Mario on the box, but we are fully utilizing the abilities of these two and bringing it into a world that makes sense for both of them. And these two would help each other out in levels and boss fights that they wouldn't otherwise be able to tackle on their own. But those are my thoughts on it, guys. If you guys like the video, be sure to let me know that by giving me a like, and be sure to share this video with a friend who likes Mario, who likes Sonic, and sometimes plays the Olympic Games, or maybe someone who doesn't even know what those games are about but just likes the two series involved. Also, comment challenge, what do you guys think about an actual full-fledged Mario and Sonic game that isn't just another Olympic party game? Let me know that in the comments below, and be sure to like this video if you did. Be sure to check in every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for new videos just like this every week. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys again next week. Bye.